The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It is Thursday, the 13th day of November, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BEDC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamel Hartman, and we'll have a news break from Maya Palacio in a bit. How's everyone feeling this Thursday morning or evening or afternoon, wherever you may be tuned in from? How's everyone feeling today? One day closer to some of you all's favorite day of the week, which is Friday. And I'm excited. We're one day closer to Global Entrepreneurship Week. Yeah, we are. But anyway, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Chelsea Warren on from the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, and we're going to be discussing Global Entrepreneurship Week and Pinky Cole. Yes, Slutty Vegan founder. She will be part of the Global Entrepreneurship Week festivities in Bermuda next week. So something entrepreneurs should be excited about, someone who built something from the ground up. The daily play is going to be a name that place today. Name that place. All right. So get your thinking caps on, and don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, we're going to jump right into the conversation this morning because we've got a lot to discuss, and so let me be very clear. I do this just as a courtesy, not because I have to. I've done it with Chris Furbett recently, and I've done it with Minister Zane De Silva last evening. So respectfully, I have reached out to let them know I'll be discussing something that they said and given them the opportunity to respond. Mr. Furbett didn't respond and Minister De Silva did not respond. But the question of the morning, to jump right into it, is what are your thoughts on longer mortgages? What are your thoughts on longer mortgages? What are your thoughts on longer mortgages? And also, would you enter into a 50-year mortgage? Would you enter into a 50-year mortgage? So you're probably saying, Jamal, why are we talking about that? Well, this is why we're talking about it. The president of the United States, Donald Trump, had flirted with this idea of 50-year mortgages. He floated the idea offering home buyers a 50-year fixed-term mortgage, which is significantly longer than the standard 30-year mortgages that are pretty normal right now. Now, the goal President Trump is trying to put out there is that it'll reduce mortgage payments, monthly mortgage payments, by spreading the debt over a much longer period. For example, using a fixed rate of a 50-year loan has lower monthly payments for the same home price compared to a 30-year. And, there have been some, criticisms, right? One of them is total interest paid. Like I saw an example that actually gave numbers like for a $400,000 home, instead of paying $600,000, now you're paying $1 million over 50 years altogether, right? So it means more interest, slow equity building, and potentially more risk for the borrower. The legal and regulatory framework may not currently allow such terms. So, for example, U.S. rules under the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act typically restrict mortgage terms to 30 years. So that will require changing the legal framework. Some experts argue that the key problem is housing affordability isn't just payments, but supply, wages, and housing inventory. So it's extending terms might be a short-term fix, like a Band-Aid, rather than a lasting solution. So what are some potential implications for a 50-year mortgage, folks? Well, for first-time buyers who struggle with high monthly payments, a 50-year mortgage could open the door to home ownership sooner, albeit with slower wealth accumulation. Borrowers will just pretty much be in debt longer, right? So basically, people will be retiring into their in debt, right? Lenders and mortgage banking agencies would need to assess risk differently, right? Long-term loans means longer exposure to interest rate changes, housing market shifts, credit risk. Also, the housing market may see increased demand because more buyers can afford monthly payments, which could push prices up if supply remains constrained, like weakening affordability. So you're all probably saying, well, Jamal, that's President Trump. That's the United States. Why does it matter for places like Bermuda? Oh, you want to know why? Let me share my screen with you all and show you why it should matter in Bermuda, because you all may have short memories. You may have some short memories. So let me go into the well for you. All right. So let's see. I'm going to bring this up. So, because I'm trying to tell you, I'm not starting trouble. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, something was said on the Daily Hour, and I think I should refresh your memories. So here's Minister Zandy Silva on the Daily Hour recently.
Homes, and like I said earlier, I think the banks need to assist people more when they want to purchase homes in terms of the length of the mortgages. Why can't we do 50-year mortgages in the country? The banks do not want to take the risk. And
so you heard right there, you heard Minister Zandy Silva tout 50-year mortgages on this show. All right. So he said it before. And I think maybe President Donald Trump copied Minister De Silva. But Minister Zandy Silva actually said this. Now, regardless of how you feel about Minister De Silva as an, politician or personally, or whether how you feel about him, just in general, I don't know how to feel about this, right? I just feel like the way the world works, capitalism, the West, capitalism, the only way to really live is in debt for most people. I don't think extending people's debt is a good thing, personally. And don't give me that nonsense about, oh, good debt versus bad debt and all that. That's just capitalism talk. No, I'm not anti-capitalism. Let me be very clear. It's hard to be a business owner and be anti-capitalism. I'm just trying to have an honest, direct conversation that there are quite a few who don't know how to operate within the system as is. So again, question of the morning, what are your thoughts on longer mortgages? What are your thoughts on longer mortgages? And would you enter into a 50-year mortgage? Nicole Hassel says, definitely not. 30 years is long enough. Okay. We've got Suzanne Ingham says 25 to 20-year, I think she means 30-year mortgage maybe. I have a 10-year mortgage and it's no fund with renovations, no fun, I believe she means, with renovations to do. 15 might have been better for me, all right, with higher payments, right? All right, well, folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. It's good to the audience. Well, that's funny. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, you are not on YouTube. Well, how is Sean Smith on YouTube then? Sean Smith says, no, I would not. And I'm not actually watching on YouTube as well over here. So we're definitely on YouTube, Charles. Just recheck that. But Sean Smith says, no, I would not. That's paying well over market value. That's the concern. They may appear, actually, Dr. Anthony Richardson, he says longer mortgages may appear to be less expensive at face value, but the amount of interest paid over a long period could be massive. I think it comes down to whether interest amount is fixed, such good, or variable bad. A 50-year mortgage prevents generational wealth accumulation. Indeed. Another thing that I just wanted to share is to put Minister Zandy Silva's comments in context. He also mentioned, because I don't think it's the exact same, he mentioned that instead of the banks repossessing or taking people's homes, just extend their mortgage for some years. That was his point. Now, I just want to be clear. I'm not going to do the PLP how they did me. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to add some context to it. Ms. Ellen K. Horton says, when the U.S. coughs, Bermuda catches a cold. Speaking about that, just got to go off topic because I just put some, what's that stuff called? Some vitamin C in here. Elderberry, because I had a little scratchy throat coming from the gym this morning. I mean, it's cold, so I have to walk outside to go to the gym, and it's like 43 out there this morning. And so I don't want to, I'm trying to be, in you all's faces next week and represent that Global Entrepreneurship Week. So I don't want to be sick. Forgive me. We've got Charles H. Jeffs II. He says, yup, essentially one will be renting from the bank and with variable interest rates. I don't like it. But what's crazy is a lot of people don't understand it, folks. A lot of people don't understand it. No. I would love to hear the other side. I would love to hear the other side. I would love to hear, what people. I guess I want to hear someone to me today tell me why this is a good idea. Would be a good idea for Bermuda. Tell me why this would be a good idea for Bermuda. Now, again, I understand what Minister Zandy Silva was saying as it relates to it. And again, let me just rewind. If you just tune in, we're talking about President Donald Trump has touted a 50-year mortgage, right? Which he says would give people an opportunity to be homeowners. So he's throwing that idea out on social media that, we should go to 50 years instead of the traditional 15 and 30. Obviously, there's going to have to be regulatory and legal framework to change the law as is. President Trump says basically the goal was to reduce monthly mortgage payments by spreading the debt over a much longer period. For example, using a fixed rate, 50-year loan has lower monthly payments for the same home price compared to a 30-year rate. But again, as some of you in the audience have said, paying a lower rate today, but overall, total interest paid, you're literally going to be paying $1 million for a $400,000 home. Not to mention, this means people will likely be retiring and dying in debt. I don't know how I feel about this. And again, if this is something that you want to do your thing, audience. Do your thing. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do or what not to do. We're having a discussion. I just think this is extremely concerning. I would love to hear from bankers, though. I would love to hear what mortgage lenders would think about this. I would love to hear what Craig Simmons thinks of this and Curtis Dickinson. But what are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on longer mortgages, and would you enter into a 50-year mortgage agreement? We've got Rosalind Famous says it's time to explore creative real estate investment outside of the banks. But Rosalind, remember we've had conversations on this show. What was it called? What our elders used to do back in the day? Because I know in my family, they, the grandfathers and the brothers and their clubs, they had those club hands. They helped each other build their one home, and then they went and they built the other home. Like that's how it was done. We don't do. I mean, and rightfully so. People have good reason. Some of us don't trust our own family enough to learn money or help them because, I mean, people don't rock the same. We don't build together anymore. I don't know. I need convincing or education as to why a 50-year, I disagree with a 30-year mortgage, folks. And this is my argument with home ownership. It's no different from my argument with the business of formal education. And, I talk to people all the time. Oh, well, I don't want to be homeless when I'm old with nowhere to stay. I don't think too many people are homeless because they don't have a place to stay. It's not that simple. If you have income, you have rent. When we talk about that, we never talk about earning the home and then get to a space where we can't keep it up. And so we're living in a derelict space. There are people in certain industries who make a hell of a lot of money, can afford to purchase a home and have a mortgage and the like. Don't put that pressure on everyone. I think home ownership and real estate comes down to what Rosalind Famous said. Getting creative with real estate investment. And our elders actually showed us how to do that. Sal and Kate Horton says, I would advise against it. I would advise against it. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, it may help those who want to get on the property ladder, generally, or as an investment. The quicker you pay off the mortgage or sell it off to another, the better. Yeah. Again, audience, let us know, would you enter? Yes or no? And again, this is personal, so I understand if you don't want to share, but this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Would you enter into a 50-year mortgage? And also, what are your thoughts on longer mortgages? What are your thoughts on longer mortgages? Sean Smith says, how many people's pension can cover their payment plus their living expenses? Yeah. These are the things. See, this is why politics is hard for me. It's hard for me to trust what comes out of politicians' mouths sometimes, because this is one of those things that sounds good to someone who doesn't truly understand economics. And I'm not an economics expert, but at least I understand that a longer mortgage with lower payments sounds good to some. Oh, instead of paying such $2,000 a month, I can only pay $900, right? But they're not looking long term, what that looks like, what that means. And then we see the way the world's going. I just shared this morning about what AI is about to do over the next 5 years. Folks, the picture's not as beautiful as some may make it seem. It's really not. And this is not fear-mongering, man. It's not. I promise you it's not. I promise you it's not. Your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, he says, good morning. My question is, would President Trump get a 50-year mortgage? Would Zandy Silver get a 50-year mortgage? The way I actually have more faith in Minister Zandy Silver if he got in trouble asking a bank, can you extend it 20 years? I have more faith in him than Donald Trump doing that. I do. Silent Kate Horton says the difference today is that there's no land to buy, hence no land to build on. Yeah. This is a conversation I think everyone should be having, though. It's a conversation I think, I think Miss Ellen Kate Horton said earlier, when the United States sneezes, Bermuda catches a cold. I want us to keep our eyes on this one in the U.S. Keep a very close eye on this, because While it may be a U.S. policy that Donald Trump's looking at, the idea touches on global challenges, housing affordability, debt duration, and access to home ownership. For Bermuda, if one were to adapt similar thinking, questions would include, should mortgage terms be extended? Which Zandy Silver, the Minister of Housing, put out there on this show earlier this year. And we need to figure out what's the right balance between monthly payment relief and long-term financial health. Understanding how extended mortgage terms work could help Bermudians, though. Evaluate local housing finance options, especially where high property cost makes standard terms difficult. But I think it's something to consider, folks. This is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. Polly Rich says, no, do not agree with 50-year mortgage. Should be rent to buy options. I like that. And Michael Daniels says, would the mortgage be transportable, allowing the debt to be tied to the property, not the individual? That's a good question, folks. We've got to bring Maya Palacio in for Daily Hour Newsbreak. I'm excited that we've got Chelsea Warren coming on. We're talking about the Global Entrepreneurship Week festivities with Pinky Cole, founder of Slutty Vegan. So looking forward to that. But let's show some love to Titan Express and Secure before we bring Maya Palacio in for your Daily Hour Newsbreak.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
Alrighty, folks. And if you haven't already, if you are streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, or Instagram, do us a huge favor. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Make sure everyone you know has access to these most important community conversations, because I can guarantee you, when I was searching, after I saw that from President Trump this weekend, for Minister Zandy Silver's comments, I couldn't find them. And then, because I knew he said it, I went back and watched the episode with him, and I found it. So why am I sharing that? Because there are things that are said on this show that everyone needs to know, that you're not going to find other places on the internet. So make sure you share the conversation. Make sure you know everyone you know has access to these things. Because what you don't want to happen, you don't want to get caught off guard. Let's bring Maya Palacio in for your Daily Hour News Break.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, Maya. You getting a 50-year mortgage?
I highly doubt that'll happen in my lifetime.
My goodness. But isn't I knew, like I knew. I searched I searched to say, I'm like, I know Minister Zandy Silver said this. I know. And I couldn't find it. So I had to go back and look at transcripts of him on the show, and I found it. I think that's important. And I'm gonna tell you why while Maya's here. We had a meeting, with the news team at Daily Hour last week. These guys do so many stories that if you don't watch the Daily Hour, you just would not know. There are stories that they've done on this show that months later, other mediums in Bermuda have had them. So when I say to you, share the conversation, make sure your people are up to date. There's absolutely no excuse, Maya, in this day and age, in the age, what they call it, the age of information, the information age, something like that. But there's no reason people should not know certain things. So I can say this on the show, don't get caught with your pants down, folks. Seriously. Because not everyone tunes into Daily Hour, so not everyone knew that Zandy Silver actually said that when he said it months before President Trump touted it.
Mm-hmm. One thing I have to commend about the show as well is like when we do get these ministers, MPs, or people in parliament to actually come on the show, again, our audience has a chance to ask them any question. And they're right there live having to answer it or having to deflect. And you get that natural answer, that natural response, that how much do they know about, things that we actually want them to know about right in front of us. So, and you rarely get that anywhere else. Because even in press conferences, when, I'm able to get to them, there's some things that, we can't touch on sometimes, even though most of us do press that button and still ask regardless. It's still a matter of, this is for this situation. Try to keep your questions to this situation. It's not like that on this show.
You are absolutely correct. And Maya, just you saying that, as I was looking for that statement through the transcript, that was actually a question from the audience he was answering. That wasn't one of us asking it. That was a question from the audience he was responding to. So, folks, this is the space you want to get the answers to stuff you need. Because I now would like to ask Minister De Silva. Now, you've heard President Trump tout this 50-year mortgage. Is this the same thing that you're on about? We need further explanation, because now, once the President Trump said it, I went deeper, because I'm like, I don't know if this is a good thing. Again, it sounds good in theory, Maya, like going from paying like maybe $2,000 a month to $900. Sounds good, right? But over time, I don't know.
There's so many things that sound good in theory that are put in place and then have these long extended periods. But then, different parliaments come in power, different things happen. And then that one contract can end up becoming a lot more hectic and more messy than what it originally started from. Yeah. So, time really does change a lot of things. So.
Yeah. I don't know. This is one to watch, folks. We'll keep an eye on this, and hopefully we can reach out to Minister De Silva and just ask him if he has anything further to add to this.
Of course, definitely. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour Newsbreak, brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. We say it all the time, but from family household medicines to fresh toys and big moments, anything that you have coming up, and we know the holidays are rolling around really quickly, you want to jump on board, make sure you head over to People's Pharmacy, because they have everything that you need. It's a familiar face, a caring hand, and a reminder that we matter. All right, starting off your news break this morning, let's kick it into what the police had to say, because the police service and the HM Customs say they've stopped 2 major drug shipments in recent weeks, keeping more than $2 million in narcotics off Bermuda streets. Now, in one case at the Hamilton docks, a container was flagged from Customs intelligence and searched by dock officers, BPS narcotics, and customs inspectors. A large quantity of drugs was seized. In a separate case, at the Alex Wade International Airport, customs officers detained a 40-year-old Bermudian man and recovered drugs valued at over $100,000 during a secondary inspection. Now, Detective Chief Inspector Jason Smith says the seizure shows the impact of intelligence-led joint operations. A customs spokesperson praised officers' vigilance at the borders. Both agencies say investigations are ongoing, and they'll continue joint surveillance and pursue those responsible for drug importation.
See, Maya, I want to say this is a good thing that they're catching stuff. But every time I think about it, I'm like, that's a lot of stuff. How much stuff's getting through? That's my mind go, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Once you see the amount that has been caught, you're like, that's a lot of money. Then you think, well, how much is actually going through, and how much is reaching our streets, and how much is it bad for a certain community versus the other? So it's all those questions that come into play. Now, the second story I have for you guys, I'm gonna say it's pretty long, but it's a really important piece that I realized probably like a week ago, that I don't think many people in Bermuda know this, even though we know a lot of history when it comes to our Bermuda theater boycott. But out here in Canada, recently on November 8th was Viola Desmond Day. Now, if you don't know who she is, you're going to know after this story. Pretty impactful, especially for the Black community. But here's her story and how it correlates a little bit to Bermuda.
Here's someone many in Bermuda may not know by proximity, but her fight mirrors ours. Viola Desmond. In 1946 in Nova Scotia, Desmond sat in a main floor seat reserved for white patrons and refused to move. She was arrested, later pardoned, and her stand became a rally point for Canadian civil rights. In 2018, she appeared on Canada's $10, the first Black Canadian and the first Canadian woman, other than the Queen, on a regular circulated banknote. Last week in Toronto at a tribute for Viola Desmond Day, November 8th, Juno Award winner Judy Black spoke. Members of Viola's family sat front row, a reminder of how art spaces can become spaces of justice. So here in Bermuda, we know this story: segregation, theaters, and courage, the 1959 theater boycott. However, our segregation looked different. After emancipation, many public venues, post offices, hospitals, theaters, schools, hotels, restaurants, workspaces were classified as private, when in reality it was whites only and business as usual. Black legislators like Dr. E.F. Gordon, Sir Edward Richards, Russell Pierman, and Weasley Bibb Tucker pushed back but were outvoted. They couldn't force change. In a blog written by Florence Maxwell, Bermudian author and storyteller, she retells the story of how there were early cracks to dismantle segregation. In 1951, Georgine Hill, she challenged the Bermudiana Theatre Club's exclusion and won broader access. But the historical standout was a small, disciplined circle that formed the progressive group, choosing secrecy and nonviolent pressure that brought crowds in cinema doors. Within 2 weeks, hotels and restaurants dropped their color bars, and the theaters followed. On July 2nd of 1959, desegregation began. The identities of the progressive group stayed hidden for decades, nearly 40 years, and they were later revealed in the documentary When Voices Rise.
Having grown up in Canada, I had never seen water that color or sand, real sand, coral sand. Now, as far as the place is concerned, it was unlike Montreal in many respects. It was, first thing I was aware of is the racial segregation. It hits you like a very soft punch, but still, it was palpable.
And in the documentary, some progressive group members had traveled to Canada and expressed far less segregation. They could simply walk into theaters.
I was in a mainly white country, Canada. I mean, I was able to, I faced far less segregation over there in Canada. I was not, I could sit anywhere in a theater. I could go to the best restaurant, and I mean, I didn't face any of the kind of discrimination and that sort of thing that I found in my own home country.
This contrast was galvanizing. How can I be more free in another country than my own? That realization helped push the movement back in Bermuda. And while history has many threads, it matters that Canada's climate had been shaped by the acts of people like Viola Desmond, proof that refusal and reform could move institutions. So Viola's stand, while technically her seating, helped shape a climate where walking through a door was possible. Bermuda's young people turned that possibility into a movement. Change doesn't stop at borders. You never know what quiet act, whether it be sitting, staying, or speaking, can ripple toward a new venture for someone else and just help that person move the line in another country.
I can't hear you at all, Jamal.
Sorry. I was saying one thing, Black women certainly moved the chains back then. And I want to say this. The gentleman said experienced more discrimination or racism in Bermuda than in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said something similar. Like I have. And that's why it always fascinated me, the way that Black Bermudians were obsessed with Donald Trump. And I like calling hypocrisy out because we're all hypocrites. You know, David says it all the time. But some of us know it, some of us don't. But this is why no one can have a racism conversation with me in the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party. You can't, because I've experienced more racism and discrimination in Bermuda than I have in Donald Trump's United States of America. But I want to get back to that, because I think one of the biggest takeaways from that is how we were inspired. The progressive group was inspired by this woman that many of us today knew nothing about before just now. And that's how it's supposed to work. That's how it's supposed to go. And we still have a long way to go. I guess the question is, who is that person we're seeking inspiration from now? How will we use that inspiration to move forward and ensure that we have equity and justice for all?
And as I was doing the research for this story as well and watching the documentary and thinking, I wonder how many of them knew about Viola Desmond and like her fight in Nova Scotia that obviously trickled through to allow, theaters to finally let Black people be inside them and sit inside them, because obviously when they went to Canada and years later, they noticed, hey, I can walk through, like, that's weird. There's no segregation here like there is in Bermuda,
Yeah.
and like wondering how many of them knew about that fight that she fought.
That's crazy, Maya. Like, sir, think about that. When people think Canada, just on a broad scale, they think, oh, whiter than snow, right? That's just the people's thought. Obviously, there are cities in Canada where they're more diverse than Anna, right? But then Bermuda, first thing people think, oh, majority Black country, whatever. I always say to people, it's not the makeup of the population, it's the makeup of the economics. Who owns and runs the system?
Yeah. Yep. And in those, like, just knowing that history, man, and seeing how things get progressed, it's easy to forget that someone else did something that kind of influenced you as well. So I think that was like the major key point that I got when I was doing this research and doing this story. Is like, wow, I wonder how many people knew. And in 2018, when she was put on the note as like the first Black person in Canada to be on a banknote, and Black woman as well, outside of the Queen, like said in the story. But I was like, I remember doing that story. I remember going out there in Halifax and speaking to a bunch of people and getting to these conferences because it was a major deal. It was a huge deal to celebrate her, a huge deal to see a Black person on a banknote. And I was just thinking too, like how many of these firsts that even I'm living through in my generation, that the people above me had lived through as well, when it comes to the first Black person to do this, to do that, or accomplish this and accomplish that. And sometimes it always feels like, no way is this the first. But it is. We're living through years of first, continuous first, and there's going to be way more to come. But that was a big takeaway from this too, still living through the first.
Real quickly, because I know you've got other things to talk about, but I want to say this. When you say that, it made me think of when I first moved to the US in 2001. I was in a class and they said, yeah, interracial marriage here in Alabama, it's illegal up until last year. It's like, huh? Like, think about that. You were born by then. Think about that. Just think about, like, audience, take a moment to think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's honestly like we have the first Black woman to ever dive in the Olympics.
Yeah.
In Bermuda, small little Bermuda. So Horton Parachute. There's so many firsts that we're living through that sometimes it literally blows my mind. Sometimes I think that we haven't reached a further pinnacle, but then it also connects the dots when we think about, slavery, desegregation, everything. And sometimes we want to put into this perspective like, oh, that was years ago. Oh, get over it. You hear those comments. Please. That was my mama's year. Like, it's so close. But again, what we talk about on this show a lot, and that's why we bring in so many experts, so many people in the past history to teach us these things, because there's a lot of intergenerational information that we lack because we're not really bridging those gaps to teach this history. So even this documentary, find it, show it again. The documentary about Court Street as well that I brought on the show, I think last month, just a reminder of all the devastation that is happening on Court Street. But that's not all that it is. Remind them of the history that has progressed us today, and that there's still a long way to go. All right, I'm going to close it out with the weather as we have an important guest coming into the show. So today you're looking at some sunny breaks between a few thick moving showers. It has been kind of blistery. I know the people at the PGA Golf Tour are feeling it in Bermuda because the winds have been a bit crazy out there. And you're looking at strong winds again and a high of 75 degrees.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Maya. Real quickly, days of the year, it is national in the U.S. Hug a Musician Day. So audience, I want to ask you, I'm going to ask Maya, and I'll answer this too. If you could hug a musician, past or present, dead or alive, who would it be?
It doesn't matter. Like, I'm thinking Bermuda musicians.
It could be local. It could be Michael Jackson. Anybody. If you could hug a musician, who would it be?
Okay. His name is escaping me right now. Is it Hubert?
In the world?
Yes, Bermuda's Another World, because
That's
honestly, I
right.
feel like they're so moving, but also I feel like everyone who also put together the song, Proud to be Bermuda, like, love that.
Mr.
And
Woodge and all them.
and then my final one, because honestly, a very close friend of mine has helped me a lot, Derek G, and all the music that he's produced on this island, not just for himself, but so many artists. And we also had on recently with the short documentary clip that they did as well with the gun bass. So very much so, Derek G.
All righty. All right. Maya gave you 3. Renee Simmons says MJ. See, that was too easy. I knew some was Michael Jackson. We've got Philip Trott says D'Angelo. Okay. Could hug D'Angelo. Mark C. Phillips says Mary J. Blige, my fave. All right. We've got Janelle Pearson says Mr. Woodward, my high school teacher. Okay. That's proud to be Bermudian. We've got Dr. Anthony Richardson says Whitney Houston. Man, who would I? You know what? Every R&B artist, that from the Temptations to Boys to Men to
Etta James.
Yeah, Etta James. I mean, we've got Mariah, Luther Vandross. I'm just gonna hug everybody. But outside R&B, if I had one person, the music that has moved me the most, where it's like church hymns to me, Bob Marley.
Every Sunday morning, bro. Every Sunday morning,
Bob Marley. Like if I finish this show and I'm not feeling well, Bob Marley. He has a song for every mood for me. Maya, we'll see you soon. Have a wonderful day. We're going to take a break. Then we've got Chelsea Warren. I'm excited about this conversation because she's an entrepreneur and she's never been on the show, but coming on for BEDC today. So I'm happy about that. So we'll speak to you soon. Take care of yourself. All right.
Thank you. Have a great chat, guys.
All righty. Maya Palacio, folks, if you've appreciated the conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're a bit late, we're a bit behind, but again, Maya had such a great story just now, and hopefully you all share it, check it out. But give us a few minutes. We'll be back with Chelsea Warren for a very good conversation. Stick with us.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
At HSBC, how we do business in our community is as important to us as what we do for our community.
We are here at Hungry Bay with HSBC today. We're planted over 500 mangroves using 2 different methods. This work is very vital for our mangrove ecosystem and would not be possible without HSBC's generous support.
I am super happy that we have a team here of colleagues helping us replant some of the mangroves. Mangroves are critical for preserving coastal nature, and with recent hurricanes they have been taken away by waves. By replanting them, we are really helping nature be at its best.
Thank you so much for HSBC for sponsoring the Microforest Project, but by extension, the Hungry Bay Restoration Project.
Thank you to all of the charities, corporate partners, and HSBC volunteers for your commitment to our community.
SCARS stands for Saving Children and Revealing Secrets, and we are a Bermuda nonprofit organization whose mission is to reduce the risk of child sexual abuse and to be an advocate and a voice for children who've been sexually molested, as well as their affected family. New media like the Daily Hour is really important in partnering with organizations like SCARS. It's another platform for us for awareness. There can be no radio silence as it relates to child sexual abuse, and we need as many initiatives as we can get. We need to keep this message alive. In terms of us and the work that we do, live engagement is good because it allows the audience to ask questions, to make comments, even to provide us with encouragement and support. What I love about the live engagement when SCARS is being interviewed by Jamel is just this feeling of safety, this feeling that he gets it. He cares about children. It's a connection.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Jamel Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can do this with you on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. Folks, do us a favor. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. If you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, or Instagram, do us this big favor. Before we bring our very special guests in, just take a moment to give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Help us beat the algorithm so that everyone you know has access to these most important community conversations as possible. But without further ado, let's bring in our very special guest today. We must give her a big apology as we're running a bit late, but give a warm TDH welcome to our guest, Chelsea Warren. Hello. Uh-oh, she's muted. She doesn't want us to hear her voice.
I'm unmuted. Good morning.
Happy Thursday to you. How are you?
Yes, thank you. I love doing okay. I love the round of applause. It was awesome.
Crazy. Like they know you like that, right? Gotta ask you, before we jump into the conversation, Chelsea, I gotta ask you. You heard it's Hug a Musician Day. Who's the one musician, or multiple, what's a musician that you would run to hug?
Mine would be, is it Tasha Cobbs? I think it would be Tasha Cobbs.
She could blow. Gospel for you all you heathen.
Yeah, no. I listen to a lot of music. I love R&B. I love reggae. I love all of that. But I just think in one of my darkest periods of my life, she carried me through. So it's just, I would never, like you said, you was talking about Bob Marley. That's how she is to me. It's her and Jacqueline Carr. I think it's Jacqueline Carr and Tasha Cobbs. Those two. When I was going through the toughest time, I would play them, and they just got me through my day, motivated me, reminded me of God's love, to trust in Him, His faith, like all of those things. One of these songs is Gracefully Broken. Gracefully Broken. I will never forget my mom. I think that was Tasha Cobbs or Jacqueline Carr. I can't remember which one.
You all know I'm gonna be getting these songs after the show, so she's putting me on game. But Chelsea, thank you so much for coming, and apologies about the delay. Hopefully you're not in a rush, don't have any meetings to go to, because we want to get through this conversation even if it goes over 15 to 20 minutes. But just for those who may not know what you do, because you're an entrepreneur yourself, but just tell people a bit about who you are, what you do, and your role with Bermuda Economic Development Corporation.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Chelsea Warren. I am not in the capacity of Optimum Bodied. I am a full-time employee that a lot of people do not know. So I am a development officer, and I work alongside William Spriggs in the Economic Cooperative Development Unit. And so one of our remits, what we do, I do a lot of project managing and project development for the economic development. I think one of the major projects is what we're going to touch today. A lot of educating. We put on a lot of different events for entrepreneurs to be able to be a part of the bigger scope of ecosystem. Our specific unit, we don't tailor things specifically for one entrepreneur. We work on development projects and programs for the benefit of multiple entrepreneurs. And so I genuinely love what I do. I've been here for about a year, shy of like 6-7 months. And so, I'm still new, but I'm kind of like getting a little bit more seasoned. So that's just a little bit.
Yeah, and to be honest, I honestly, call me a little slow, but I just thought you did your thing. So I only learned recently. So congratulations on your 1 year. But
Thank
talking
you.
about Global Entrepreneurship Week in Bermuda, which for those who may not know, it runs from November 17th to the 23rd. This year's theme is Together We Build. What does this year's edition aim to achieve for local entrepreneurs?
I think the ultimate goal is for, Bermudian entrepreneurs to remember the importance of collaboration and collective growth. GEW for one of our main events, which is Friday, which is the Together We Build conference. That's an all-day conference featuring local entrepreneurs, a lot of success stories, like I said, from locals. We have Mac Wilds there. We have Pinky Co will be coming down, and so it's just to strengthen that ecosystem. About we can't really just do things isolated. We have to do things together, and so it will be mentorship, breakout sessions. We have a networking event afterwards, just to kind of bring together, like it says, together we build that cohesiveness. Sometimes we operate a lot in silos, not noticing that our partner next to us can actually help us achieve our goals, and then that partner can, vice versa. I can help you, you can help me. So that's just the goal, and to inspire action, to allow
Yeah.
people to remember, like, you can do these things, helping
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, that growth doesn't happen in isolation, but together.
Yeah. You mentioned Pinky Cole, and she's the founder of Slutty Vegan.
Yeah, the
As
name
one,
cracks me up.
it really does, right? But people gotta, understand the business to get to the name. But just speak to us about. I mean, that's big. I don't think people understand how big this is. But how did her participation come about, and what does her story add to Bermuda's entrepreneurial narrative?
Yeah, definitely. So Pinky Co, if you don't know, if anyone that's listening, Pinky Co, like Jamal said, she is the CEO founder of a vegan brand called Slutty Vegan. And I know her name may turn you away a little bit, but she has this type of way of how she brands. And she wanted it to be provocative because she needed to capture the non-vegan audience. And a lot of times we kind of we get like magnets to mess or anything that's just like the curiosity, Slutty Vegan. And so she broke barriers with that name, and then cultivating that vegan dish. So when you walk into her restaurant, she has slutty fries, and it's all on brand theme. In addition to that, because junk food, it's still like junk food, but for vegan. So that's why the name came. But as we was doing our research, I lived in America for a little bit, and I was very familiar with her journey. And it's so crazy. So when I came into my position as a development officer, we have a program called the Commercial Kitchens Program. And what we do is we take underutilized space and we match it with entrepreneurs that are looking for commercial kitchens, for them to um, execute their culinary endeavors. Not a lot of entrepreneurs can afford commercial grade appliances. Okay, some of them, in order for them to be licensed, they have to be in a commercial kitchen. And so, what bridged the gap and for us to bring her is because as we were as I'm just been doing my research, I'm all big into entrepreneurship. So I listen to podcasts, and she actually started in a shared kitchen space, similar to our commercial kitchens program, so to speak. Oftentimes I am doing interest calls and I'm doing networking events and meeting these foodpreneurs, should I call them, who are, in these commercial kitchen space with us, like our tenants, and they're constantly talking about, we're in the shared space, but I really would like to have a food truck. I would really like to have a restaurant. And so sometimes I see that, you know, people get defeated from where they are now. Sometimes it's hard to look at the future and say, I can take this situation, I can take this situation, I can make the best of it, I can flip it, and then my business can grow. Sometimes when you're in a certain environment, you're not able to see, what's to come. And so to bridge that gap, that's where Pinky comes into play. She started her business in a shared kitchen space. Her business has grown to over a multi-million-dollar vegan brand. And so bringing Pinky Co is a statement to remind Bermudians that you can start here, but you can also scale, and you can use what you have now to scale bigger. So that's how Pinky came into play. And we've been negotiating since about February, March to get her here. And so now it's just constantly sharing the story and letting Bermudians know, hey, you guys don't want to miss these events. She'll be doing 3, the keynote, and we'll get into get into more details with these later, but her story is a story of resilience,
Mhm.
consistency, and heart. And I think that's always a testament for Bermudians to see.
Mhm.
It's always good to have a shift perspective of, someone else's story and to learn from global leaders.
Yeah. And audience, I want to know, has anyone actually experienced Slutty Vegan? Yes, I do live in Atlanta. Yes, I told you last time I have not yet experienced it. I'm going. And NTS says, Pinky has an amazing story, my fellow Clark Atlanta University alum. I want to say this though, because I follow her on LinkedIn. I read something recently where she was going to start
Lost her
franchise.
business. Oh, yes. We was going
No,
to talk
no, they
about
lost
that.
that. Yeah, but she's bounced back. She bounced back,
Yeah.
right? But the franchise, and I'm just like, but as I don't want to tell her story. It's not, that's not my thing. But as Chelsea just mentioned, the story gets more incredible because she did lose the business. She did
She
bounce back.
lost it.
Yeah, like, and it's. I hope people, and I'm gonna force it down y'all's throat. I am. I don't do that often. But I really hope people get out to attend and listen to her story from her mouth, because negotiating from February to make this happen for Bermuda, this is not something we're gonna get the opportunity to do all the time. So
Yeah.
I really hope people take advantage of it being able to get out and engage it, because I know I'm planning on being there unless BDC says I can't. So
No, definitely, you're touching on good points. Like I said, this her story of the
Mhm.
story of resilience. Sometimes, we don't really talk to people who have had success at their fingertips and then almost lose it all.
Yeah.
So she had to buy her business back. She bought it back in 2025 this year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now she's just going on a tour to, like you said, she's franchised her company and it's been the major bounce back of 2025.
Yeah.
So yeah. And
Wow.
we're getting her in this year. She's actually on tour, but she's taking the time out to come to Bermuda, to speak to us. But she's actually on a tour right now. And so,
Mhm.
like I said, it was a lot of negotiating to get her to kind of convince her, because Bermuda's small. And
Yeah.
so sometimes we have to just, get them to understand, like,
Yeah.
like we need that her. We just need that
Yeah.
inspiration, that's inspiring story for our Bermudian entrepreneurs. And just
I'm good.
not even just entrepreneurs, just people who are just needing that story to
Mhm.
be resilient and to keep pushing no matter what they're involved in.
Yeah, and I'm honestly I'm glad, because it's not easy. Like you said, Bermuda's very small, getting people to understand audience. But I think the benefits for her and Bermuda go great.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about one of those, because one of the standout events is the Pitch It to Pinky. I just love that. Pitch It to Pinky. But it's a culinary creator showcase where local chefs will pitch vegan creations. How does this food entrepreneur angle reflect what the BDC is trying to do with GEW?
Yeah, so the event's called Beyond the Plate. That's so cute. Beyond the Plate, it's a culinary conversation and live food tasting. And so earlier when I mentioned the commercial kitchens program, that is one of our biggest programs within my unit. We have hundreds or like weekly there are users reaching out because they need kitchen space. And so the more I was in my role, I've only been there for, like I said, a year and 6, 7 months. I realized, wait, we have a lot of, I call them foodpreneurs or entrepreneurs looking to get into the culinary space. We host lunch and learns with the Department of Health, so that we can have proper protocols so that the tenants in our kitchens and other foodpreneurs looking to get in our program will just learn more about the culinary space. We host those lunch and learns where you can learn about the health. How to properly prep, like all those different things. And so the culinary space is really big in Bermuda, to be honest. And so that's like how this event came about. So she started a shared kitchen space. Okay, that works. Let's see what we can do with that. And so Friday, she'll be doing a keynote address. And then Saturday at Bacardi, shout out to Bacardi, one of our lead sponsors, as well as BTA, Brava, and we'll get to those later. But so this experience, the Beyond the Plate culinary conversation, so it starts off with Pinky sharing her story. This is specifically for foodpreneurs. Anybody that is even interested in getting in the culinary space, or you may actually just be curious and you want to attend, this is tailored to those people. Pinky, in this event, she will be talking specifically about her rise within the culinary space, how she grew her brand, how she went from being in a shared kitchen space, ghost kitchen, where you're sharing, to then developing your food truck, to then having your restaurant, to then having multiple restaurants, to then having franchises. And so that just connects the dot. It talks about creativity, innovation, and opportunity. those different factors that we want Bermudians to be able to be a part of. So she opens up with her her culinary conversation and her ode to our foodpreneurs. And what we also wanted to do is be able to get our Bermudians to get some real life feedback
Mhm.
from a global leader. And
Mm.
so that's why the pitch it to Pinky came into play, because we're like, oh, let's just have a little bit of fun. And
Mhm.
so we've chosen five chefs. Now, the category, they did not have to be vegan, but their dish that they provided to Pinky and the panel, we have a really great panel, had to be vegan because Pinky is
Mhm.
vegan. And so in order for her to cultivate and give feedback and speak to it,
Mm.
it would have to be something that she can actually taste.
Mm.
And so we picked five vendors. I don't know if you want me to say them on live or we just wait.
Please,
But
please. You can
okay, so we have, let me make sure I remember. So we have Natural Mystic Hub.
Okay.
We have Susan Spring Rolls.
Okay.
We have Eat Plant, based as Trevor
Robert
Johnson.
Johnston. Okay.
Yes, we have Bermuda Pie Factory,
Okay.
and then we have Herbs and Wildlife. Don't get mad if I forgot your name. It's like Herb and Wildlife. It's Mr. Rain.
Okay.
So we have a really, really great panel. I mean, really great chefs, and then we have a really great judge panel. And I'm not going to say who those are yet. Just know that it's like some heavy hitters in the room. So the beauty of it is that these chefs are going to create their signature dish. They'll pitch it to the panel, feedback, and then we'll announce a winner. But also another beautiful part in how we're keeping this circle going. Instead of us kind of getting a caterer or whatever, we have given like a little stipend to each chef to be able to cater the event when we have the networking breakout cocktail session.
Mm.
Um, the same chefs will then cater, but they'll be catering different dishes. And then you, the
Mm.
audience, can do the People's Choice Awards and then vote digitally on who you think deserves the People's Choice Award. So it is just a beautiful event. I'm super excited about it, and it will be held at Bacardi.
And the fun don't stop there, because then there's a Sunday event, Hustle to Empire. What's this one all about?
So yeah, so Pink is coming, okay? And so we wanted everybody to be able to just be around her energy or learn from her. And like you said earlier, not these don't come around often. These type of opportunities where you're bringing a 100 million, multi-million dollar brand CEO to Bermuda to speak to us. And so we wanted to make sure that every single person, that they have a chance to be able to sit and learn from her. So Saturday, Friday, she's just the keynote address. Saturday, she does the Bacardi foodpreneur event. And then Sunday, this is calling all entrepreneurs. We're looking for college students, high school students, middle school, anyone that is kind of just searching or seeking this entrepreneurial
Mhm.
lifestyle or just to learn about it, entrepreneurs. So this event, excuse me, it's on Sunday at Lucille and James. This is a fireside chat with Pinky Cole. So we'll be digging deep, asking her questions. She'll be talking a lot about her wins and her losses and how to fail forward. And she even
Mhm.
has a book about failing and how she changed her perspective on it and how she speaks to, like, how much she learned. But like I said, she failed forward. We
Mhm.
also open up with return, like BEDC. We'll be doing like some spark sessions before she comes on, just so that you guys can learn more about what we do, and how it can correlate with your entrepreneurial endeavors. And so that is a really great event. The tickets are for students are $25, and for adults it is $38.50. So at first we was going to go the 50 route, but we do understand the economic climate right now, and we really just want Bermudians to be able to fill the room, so
Mhm.
that also Pinky feels loved, because we're not
Mhm.
just looking right here, we're looking for long-term partnerships,
Right.
because that is the goal within entrepreneurs.
Right.
And even just having her in Bermuda is also
Mhm.
connecting those dots and allowing us to be able to blend that in case we want any opportunities. You never know where those can lead us.
Yeah. What with all this going on, what do you hope that attendees take away from Pinky Cole's participation?
I think the ultimate underlying is just people feeling inspired.
Mm.
Just that spark, that one little spark, that people remember that starting, not like starting somewhere, just that little bit of courage can take you
Mhm.
far. Here in Bermuda, sometimes we operate in this stigma. We only think this small, but you can dream big. You can dream bigger than ever. And so just that inspiration, I think that's where it starts from, because then it ultimately cultivates into that mindset of yours. And if it could just spark one person, we never know who we have in the building that could be our next multimillionaire. And it's bigger than that. It's also about the community impact, because that's what Pinky speaks to as well, is just making sure that we also we pour into our community, because entrepreneurship, I don't even know if my journey, as I develop as an entrepreneur, I realized the development that I can have, or the economic development that entrepreneurs have for their country, cultivating jobs, being able to, you build these brands, and then you can hire employees, and then you're putting money into those employees that are Bermudians. And so I think it's just that overall spark of inspiration.
Interesting.
Just the courage to start. Yeah.
Yeah. And beyond Pinky Cole's attendance and participation, BDC talks about helping local innovators and turning ideas into thriving businesses. What are some key supports as far as mentorship, funding connections that participants can expect during Global Entrepreneurship Week?
Yeah, so definitely GEW, Global Entrepreneurship Week, just provides a snapshot of the wider ecosystem of support that we have within BEDC. But at GEW, like Monday starts out with the pitch contest. That is with, I don't want to say the name wrong. I think that was with First Atlantic. Oh, Lord have
Wave of
I-
Opportunity with
Wave of
Global Atlantic.
Opportunity.
Global Atlantic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Global Atlantic. Lord have mercy. Please,
I'm
you guys,
hosting,
spare
so
me.
I should know this stuff.
Spare me. Spare me. You going live, and Bermudians will hold it to you. Sorry, my apologies. So yes, we have those opportunities. There will be some awesome pitches. And let me tell you, last year, I want to say it was a lot of money that was given away, like 20K plus. Okay, so that's a funding opportunity. So if you are looking to do it next year, start prepping now. So we have that, and then the Friday, like I said, we have the networking, the breakout sessions. Those breakout sessions are in different. You have for the creatives, you have a specific women breakout session. You have the men's breakout session. You have a tech forum. So on our site gew.bm, you'll be able to see the breakdown breakout, the agenda for that all day conference. And then the networking piece at the end, you'll be in rooms with different stakeholders, earners, CFOs, small businesses. So it's all cultivating that. And then, like I said, there's workshops, networking experiences, and then, like I said, the pitch competition that deals a lot with the funding on it. But our goal is
So
ultimately connect all these entrepreneurs with these different things. Yeah.
how can people get tickets? Because we got somebody in the audience saying, Phil Trot says, bought a ticket, the cupcakery will be in attendance. Like, we need to sell these buildings out.
Yeah. We honestly, Bermuda, I'm not even gonna lie to you. We have to get you guys in the room. The amount of work that goes behind the scenes, like I said, just within my unit, we've been negotiating since February, March. Okay. And then on Friday, I know sometimes people want to know, like, what are the local? We have a lot of local entrepreneurs that will be in the building to speak to their rise and success, to speak to them developing businesses in Bermuda. So that's on Friday. The way you get tickets is we have some tickets on Pete 6 as well. I'll say that later, but our main website, the hub where you can see everything, is gew.bm.
Alrighty.
And then you'll see the main event, which is the Friday, that's all day, and then you'll see the events that I spoke about, which was the Saturday event and the Sunday event.
I want to touch on this before you head out, because you mentioned just now the amount of work that goes into this. You've got some key sponsors, the Bermuda Tourism Authority, Bacardi, Brava, some others. Speak to the importance of the collaboration to ensure this happens, because as a fellow entrepreneur, collaboration and support is necessary. Pitch Wave of Opportunity, we've got Global Atlantic. Like, it's necessary. Speak to that.
Yeah, and that goes back to the theme, together we build. A lot of times we operate in silos, not understanding that our counterpart, our partner, or that organization can actually benefit from being apart. Even when it comes to, I noticed, like within our planning email list, there's other organizations that have a list of maybe 3,000, 4,000 attendees that they market to. And I'm doing calls, and I'm like, you know what, we can send this out on our platform just to get that out. So I think the importance of collaboration, especially in Bermuda, plays a big part in the success of our businesses, and then just the events that we have, because we wouldn't be able to do it with a lot of our sponsors, because it is pricey to have these events. We do try to keep the cost low, and all those different factors. We're bringing in international guests, and we're bringing in local entrepreneurs, Bermudian entrepreneurs as well to speak. So that whole piece of collaboration, that community impact, it also makes a bigger picture. So then if you're involved, I'm involved, your counterparts, your people are coming, so it just creates this bigger ecosystem for us to thrive, So it's
Indeed.
it's beautiful, and we're so thankful for our sponsors.
Before you head out, is there anything else you'd like for Bermudans to know about Global Entrepreneurship Week?
Come celebrate with us. Nothing is nothing else I can tell you guys. I feel like I've sold myself on this on this platform, but ultimately it's just a celebration. I know sometimes we all think it's nothing to do in Bermuda. What could I do? There is something to do. November 17th to the 23rd for each and every one of you, even if you're not trying to be an entrepreneur, just the story of resilience, creativity, innovation. You actually never know where life takes you. You never know. I was an accountant, senior accountant in Atlanta, Georgia, and my whole life changed within the entrepreneurial realm. And I'm so blessed for all of my opportunities. But it started with me being in these rooms. And you also never know. You may be looking for a missing link that is actually at our Global Entrepreneurship Week. So come celebrate with us. And also just celebrating the entrepreneurs that we have in Bermuda. That's what Global Entrepreneurship Week is about, just celebrating those entrepreneurs. And I know a lot of us, even the small businesses up to medium-sized business, they put a lot of work. Some of these entrepreneurs, they are their own accountant, they are their own graphic designers, they are their own chefs, they do everything by themselves. So just being able to be in the rooms to celebrate them.
Yeah. Before you go, Suzanne Ingham says, you have a ton of energy. Come back again, Miss Warren. Yeah, we're going to get it back. We've got some other things to talk about. She's got a business herself. So we've got Rosalind Famous says, I'll be there
so much.
And bring in another entrepreneur.
Yes.
So I'm looking
Daily Hour.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But Chelsea, thank you so much. We will definitely be in attendance at multiple events, and I'm looking forward to supporting all the work that the folks at the BEDC continue to do to help people like myself and many people in our audience. One last question from the audience.
Yeah, and then I have something else to say as well.
Okay, cool. Renee Simmons says, what's the time of the Sunday session?
So the Sunday session, and I know you guys don't beat me up, it was supposed to be Thursday, but with Pinky's schedule, we had to do a last minute change to Sunday. So that's why, in case anybody wants to know, the Sunday session is from 4 to 7 p.m. So the Sunday event is very high energy. We'll be having a DJ, shout out to DJ Chubb. We'll be having, it's 3 hours, but it's very high energy from start to finish. So you don't want to miss. But another thing I do want to add is that our goal also was for Sunday is to get other high school students, like that last S3, S4, the Bermuda College students. So if anyone is listening and would love to sponsor 10, 15 students at the $25 per student, please let me know. We are looking to bring about the students, because I do believe that, you start somewhere and you can start planting these seeds. So when these young people grow up, they have these beautiful plants that grow and bloom, and they're a part of our ecosystem. So we are definitely trying to get the young people out as well to be a part of this.
Indeed. Chelsea, thank you so much. Honestly,
thank you for having me.
Having you back soon. You got your business we got to discuss too, but thank you, and all the best with GW.
Yes, thank you for having me. Have a great afternoon. Good morning. Bye-bye.
Chelsea Warren, folks, if you appreciated that conversation, you know what to do, whether you're streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Rosalind Famous, sorry about this. She asked, will the contest be streamed? The pitch competition? Yes. The one that I will be emceeing. Whether or not the other stuff will be streamed, I will get you the answer for that. All right. All right, folks, we're going to take our final break. Do not go anywhere, because we've got a daily play for you, and it's a Name That Place. And I think everyone in the audience is going to get this, right?
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework. At FriesenBrook, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal, cost-effective risk management cover to help protect your business, whether it be cyber, directors and officer liability, professional indemnity, or property insurance. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our full suite of competitive corporate insurance products. At FriesenBrook, we provide insurance you can count on.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BEDC's loan guarantee program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BEDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazoc Feed and Supply has everything you need. From top quality foods to toys and supplies, we've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
PALS is a cancer care charity. We started 45 years ago. What started as a charity with a half-time nurse, and basically just assisting patients going home from the hospital, but patients dying at home. We now, 45 years later, have 6 nurses, a social worker, and a palliative care physician. I know a lot of people that watch the Daily Hour every day, so it's just educational. It helps you know more about specific charities or specific organizations, and kind of get the nitty-gritty as opposed to just seeing a flyer on social media or just hearing or seeing a commercial. I think it's more beneficial. Like if I'm on the radio or on TV, I'm just like telling you what I think you want to know, but you might have specific questions that I can answer directly. I think it's much better having the live engagement.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to Chelsea Warren and the BDC. Folks, make sure you get out there, support Global Entrepreneurship Week. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, HSBC for making sure that we can do this with you on a regular basis, have these most important community conversations, and also pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5. Folks, if you are streaming with us, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Don't forget, there's 4 new products available for Bermuda Trivia. You've got Shoe Buy, which is Bermuda's version of Taboo. We've got the children's coloring book. We've got the crossword puzzle, and we've got a new sports edition. So follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, are you ready? Here we go. It is a Name That Place today. Audience, what is the name of the world's most famous arena where the NHL team with the nickname Rangers plays its home games? You cheater. He says MSG. What does MSG stand for? Mark Arthur C. Phillips. He went short. The world's most famous arena is, in fact, Madison Square Garden. And Madison Square Garden is based in New York City, right above Penn Station. All right, folks, we got to get out of here. But before we go, just regarding the discussion, look, I'm no economic expert. I don't own a home. I don't have a mortgage. I have a car payment. I think when Minister De Silva was responding to someone on this show, a question, what he was doing, he was looking out for those who earned homes and the bank pulling their mortgages because they missed payments rather than extending their mortgage and lowering their rate. What President Donald Trump is pretty much proposing is that to lower people's monthly payments, we should offer them longer mortgages. I don't think I'm a fan of that. I just don't think that people living their entire lives in economic debt is good. It's not healthy. So this is a tough one. As it relates to the conversation with Chelsea Warren, I love entrepreneurship. It's not easy, folks. It's not. It's a lot of work. I was speaking to a fellow more mature entrepreneur just yesterday, and I'll tell you, the one thing we think we can control as entrepreneurs is our time. But the truth is, when you're an entrepreneur, you're actually on other people's time more than just 9 to 5. It's not easy, but it definitely is rewarding. So congratulations to all the entrepreneurs out there doing their thing. I'm going to give you a daily inspiration from my book. Folks, if you're interested in purchasing my book, you can go to jamelhartman.com and just go to the connect and just let us know that you are interested in the book, which will be available very soon. But here's one of the affirmations that I have to remind myself as an entrepreneur. All right. And it says, gratitude will sometimes come from strangers who appreciate or benefit from your work, not always those who know and love you as a person. That was an important lesson I had to learn as an entrepreneur. That people who appreciate what you do for a living and what your services or products or what you give may not always be those close to you. And that's okay, because you don't necessarily create a business for them. You create it to solve other people's problems or more people's problems. All right, folks, let me let you go. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring we can have these conversations with on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5. As always, we appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for making this part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.